like what is it, right? So it is a plotting library which is used for 2D graphics or 3D plotting, you can say on, right? So we'll be using this for the 2D graphics plotting in the Python. Okay. So it is not a part of like the standard libraries which is pre-installed or coming from the like for the inbuilt of the Python, right? So you have to manually install it, and then you have some of the features, dependencies which you'll have to understand in the Matplotlib, right? So we'll have to download everything manually, and then we'll start with the Matplotlib. But since you are working with the Anaconda, right, that is your particularly Jupyter, so we'll not have to install anything here. We'll be just importing it. So the very first method I'll be letting you know, right? So see, so as I said, Matplotlib is not a part of the standard libraries again, right? So there are some of the separate downloads which we have to do, or which comes here in the kind of, right? So we have base map. Base map is the kind of the, these are the external dependencies what I am talking about now. So the base map is kind of the, you can say, a plotting toolkit with various map projections, coastlines, and all those things, right? Similarly, we have Cartopy, Excel tools, Matplotlib, 3D, and the NAT. Okay, so we'll be going it one by one. All right. So there are various type of plottings inside the Matplotlib. Like you can do bar graph, you can do histogram, you can do scatter plottings, area plot, pie plot. There are a lot of things you can do with. Okay, so there are things to be explored to the Matplotlib. There are things in the NumPy also. So we'll go to NumPy later onwards. Let's first understand the Matplotlib there. Okay. So the very first thing is to import Matplotlib, right? So importing is kind of, you write it as import matplotlib dot the pplot. So pplot as your PLT. Alright. So this is PLT. Import the matplotlib.plt as run it. Matplotlib. Alright. So this is the first command where I can just import this matplotlib. Alright. And then we need to just go with the lines of codes to just plot a graph. Okay. So plotting is very easy here in the Matplotlib, very much easy. So let's say you just want to plot a graph. Okay. So for plotting a graph, what you need some x points and some y points there with you. Okay, you need some of the x and y points with you. Okay, so let's take some of the values. Let's take x is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And similarly, let's take y is equals to 2, 4, 6, and 8. We have some values of x and some values of y. Right, now we just need to plot this. So for plotting, what we'll do is, see the very basic plotting I'm just showing you, that is plt dot plot. So as you have imported this particular Matplotlib library as a plt, so I'll be just using plt dot plot, and that's all, x comma y. It's very simple. You just plot the x comma y. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, and let these be 1. Let these be 1, 4, 9, and 16. Alright, and that's, we have x and y, and just to plot it. So you can see just a graph of their like 1, 2, 3, so 3, 4, 9, and similarly for 4 and 16. So these are nothing but just a graph, right? So your points are there on the graph, and you can see it like, okay. Similarly, let's say now to get exactly what we have plotted, to see what exactly what we have plotted there. So to see them, what we'll do is, what you can do is just, you can plot your x and y. The basic thing I'm saying you can plot your x and y. Then you can give the color name. And how to give those color name? You'll be just giving a comma over there, and then again you plot your x comma. Let's say that it should be a red line. As for the red line, it should be a red line. And again you give a comma, and you wrote like you want x and y again, and this time you want some, let's say yellow colors or blue colors, depends on you what you want. Alright, so you wrote like this. One second, hold on. Alright, fine. So when you run this, what comes? A blue line comes there in the, or basically, let's give me as. So there is an overlapping of that. You can see red lines over the blue lines there. Just hold for a minute. There is some issues here. Let me write it as yellow O. So this yellow stands for your yellow dots, and you will be getting your a red line, that is your XY red line with some yellow dots now. Understood? So these are the basic things. Right? Just a normal plotting I have shown you. Okay. Now if you want the plotting sub of types, let's say in the Matplotlib you have some of the data types. When you will plot your graph, you will be having some of the data types. Now data types can be an integer, like you will be getting when you will be learning the numpy. You will be getting like, see, you will be having data type kind of int numpy dot int of 8 or np dot int of 32. Maybe sometimes you will be getting np dot int 64. Similarly like that, right? So int states that it stores the integers from -128 to 127 and of 1 byte, right? So we'll learn all these things in the NumPy when we'll write it out, right? So there are some of the trigonometric functions also which you should focus on, but we'll focus those part on the NumPy one when we will study that. All right. So in the Matplotlib, let's just work with the very basic things. So the plot you can see is a kind of a line chart, you say, right? A kind of a line chart or a line plotting, you say it as. Okay. So for advanced plotting, the data science students have. From Monday, we will have separate classes. Okay. From Monday, your classes timing will be as it was previously, like for the 5 and 3 and whatever it was. Okay. So this is kind of a just a line plot, a similar line plot, a single line plot you can say on, right? So let's give a heading here also. It is, it's a normal let's make it simple line chart. All right, so it's a line chart there. What you did is here your YO represents to the markers or kind of a scatter. This, if I just only print YO, we'll get a scatter plotting over there. Okay, so we have this X and Y and just we plotted out something there, right? Similarly, let's say if you take some values now these X are nothing but the individual values and Y are the squares of X, right? So Y are some squares of X. So if I plot again, let's say if I plot X and Y, right? If I'm plotting X and Y, and before the plotting, let me write that plt dot X label. Now the X label stands that I'm giving some label to my X axis. All right. So I want to label it as some values. All right. And also I'll be labeling my Y. So I'll be labeling Y as the squares of X or the square values, right? So the first X axis label would be some values, and similarly for the Y as the you can say square values. So when we'll plot this, we'll again get some. Alright, sorry. So when we will plot this, we'll get a graph of having some values and the squared values and the y-axis. Alright. Now, you can write down the title also to this graph. If you want to just give out the title, you can just use the title function, that is a plt.title. Okay. Now we'll plot the markers also. We'll study about the markers. So markers will be nothing but the data points will be learning in the machine learning. Okay, so that will be exactly the data points to learn on. Now let's say that in the same program, if I need to also write the title, and I mentioned as we can say as square graph. Right. So you're getting a title over there. That is your title and your values there. Right. These are basic things. Okay. Now moving ahead. Let's say that I want to plot a sine graph. Okay. I want to just plot a sine graph now. Now we know if we want to just represent a symbolic representation, we'll be using the simpy, right? Now for calculation, what we'll be using is NumPy, right? NumPy you will be learning after the Matplotlib, we'll be learning the NumPy. Well, just understand what is you are getting in the NumPy, right? Whatever the things you are just getting in there. So for changing the color line or color code or write anything, what you will do that you just plot and then you write the plotting whatever you are just want to plot and then write the color code what you want, right? That's it. R for radial, O for Y, B, G for green, B for blue, anything, C for sand color, and O for orange. Like these are basics. Okay, so Matplotlib has been imported. Similarly, you can just import the NumPy too, because we'll be dealing with the NumPy. So don't just go with the understanding of NumPy now. Okay, just focus on the much part of the what we are trying to do, because we'll learn NumPy later on. So NumPy is NP Matplotlib PLT. Now let's say I am having X, that is a dot arrange, and arrange is nothing but arrange. You can say as particular. These two terms are divided as the A range, and A range, A stands for their array and this range. So its arrange is nothing but the arrays range, right? So A range, A is particularly I'll be taking, sorry, not A, it's NP. So NP dot arrange will be arrays range, understood? So I'm taking my X as an arrange, and arrange would be, I'm writing it's 0. Let it be 0. Comma 10 comma 0.1. So guys, these are very easy to understand. See, it's very easy. That is, what I'm doing is I need to take a range of numbers from 0.0 to 10. That is again the 10.0. Okay, so 0.0 to 10, and in the intervals of 0.1. Okay, it's very easy to understand. Any confusions there? I think no confusion should be there, right? So I need to just take off the numbers from 0.1, okay, from 0.1, 0.0 to 10, and the intervals of 0.1. That's all. So my X will be this. Now similarly, I've taken my A, that will be a cos graph, basically a cos of X. Okay, that will be a cos of X. It is a cosine of whatever the X values will be coming. That is, let it be any values between this and this in the intervals of this. So we'll be getting the cos of there, right? Similarly, I'll be taking a sine of X. Okay, so B is my sine of X, A is my cos of X, right? Now I need to just plot it, and I need to plot X versus A. Okay, and for that I'll be giving a blue color. Okay, understood? That is your X versus A, and I need to plot it by blue color. Similarly, I'll be plotting X versus B. That is my range of numbers versus the sine graph, and I'll be giving it as let's say green color. Alright, or let's say red color. Anything you want, you can give it. And in the last, what you do is you just show up whatever you have plotted. So this is very much important in the field of data visualization, right? Because you do those things there. Okay. So let's run this. You'll see what happens. You have your X, and before that, okay, first run this. So you will see a graph there, basically, right? This is a kind of a graph you will be seeing there. So what are my X? If I just see my X, A and B. So what are my X, A and B? These are the X, A and B. Okay, let me do it one by one, then you will understand better. So these are my x, that is the values between 0.0 to 9, that is your 10. So these are the values between 0.0 to 10 in the intervals of 0.1, that is 0, 0.1, 0.2, 3, 4, right? Okay. So similarly, what are the values? What are the a? So a is these values of cost values of all these things. Okay. So I'm not printing every value, just in the first 10 one. So these are the first 10 values of the A, right? Similarly, I will just plot the first 10 values of the sine graph, sine values of this. So these are the first 10 values of the sine. Now what we did is we just plotted the x versus the A and the x versus, that is this x, if we take it on for the it's just only we take x, that is from 0 to 0.9, right? And we just plotted the values, let's say for 0.0 to 0.0 to 1, and so 0.1 to 0.99, and so just we plotted out the data. So your x is this, your y is this, and then you plotted with the B and R, the respective colors. Okay, so we have a lot of colors there for B green, B for blue, G for green, R red, M for magenta, and Y for yellow, K for black. Similarly, you have a lot of colors. Okay, so you can also use the color codes coming in the FFF patterns. Okay, so you can use all those things. All right. Now going ahead with this, now let's say that in the same graph, whatever you have got it here, I want to just change the width of the plotting. That is, I want this red graph to be highlighted as compared to the blue, right? I want this to be highlighted up there. So what I'll do in the same graph, in the same whatever I have written there, the what is my point is there. So in the same graph, what I'll do is I'll plot the x and the a. Now the x and a is what? See, my x and a is that the cos graph basically, right? And the b is my sine graph. Okay. So the x versus a, all plotted by the color M. Okay, and there what you need to write is your line width. Okay, so I am taking the line width there. So my line width be, let's say, 4. Okay, we don't need the cos graph. Let it be 1. And let this plotting be let this plotting be 4. So similarly, when you plot this, now you can see the portion has been highlighted, right? And also the color has been changed. So that was what I'm talking about. You can just change on the colors. You can just do some of the formatting, right? So this was a kind of how you can just make your lines highlighted if you got some of the data points. So how can you just make it on there, right? Similarly, you can also plot the x, and you can just plot the data points as.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can you tell me how the y-axis values came?
One second. What are you asking?
Y-axis values, sir.
Y-axis.
We already given x-axis values, right? How do we got this y-axis values?
So these are the x-axis, right? These are the x-axis,
yeah.
And these are the y-axis values.
So okay.
For the first time, I'm plotting x versus a.
Yeah. Yes, got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take it for the. We're having magenta there. So. Yes, Adarsh. Your voice is not clear, but still ask.
Sir, how we means what is the importance of line width? That line width equal to 1, line width equal to 4.
You want to see the importance? Let's see. See what happens? See the line, the portion you want to highlight in the graph, you can just make it with the line width, right? So magenta is not a good color. Let's take it for red. So you can see the line there, and meanwhile you can see the yellow dots are nothing but the data points. Alright, you can see the data points moving there. So let's just make it, if you just remove this line, if you just remove this, so you can only see the lines there, right? You can see the highlighted graph, that is your data point, exactly your lines. Okay, meanwhile if you want to plot the data points, you can plot over there. So these are the basic. And also if I want that, I want some, let's say I want to make it, or I want to make this one, the transition effects, you can say, right? I want the line styles. So there are some particular line styles. So how many line styles we have? Okay, let me plot it down first. So we have line style, let's say total line styles you are having some kind of, like, you have a kind called as solid. Okay, we call it also as ls, and it is a dash, it is a dotted dash dot, it is dotted. So these are some of the formats you will be having, like styles, possible styles for your Matplotlib. Like you just want to plot, and so you will be using some of the methods to just plot there, right? So line style is solid dash dash dot or dotted kind of things, and if I want to just use it there in my graph, so let's just say PLOT, and then I want to just plot it down the X versus the B, and I'm giving my line style to be let's say dotted, right? So I'll be getting a plotting of some dotted there, right? And now that depends what you write, how you just write it down, right? So these are the things, very basic things, how you can modify width, how can you just modify the plottings, how you can just modify the line style and the line width, right? Now we'll see how to make markers, and I said that markers are nothing but the data points you have. So this dotted might be having some data points. This every particular point of these things, what I've shown here, see the every particular points of these particular line, this particular points is having some data points. So you have, when you plot your scatter plotting, when you plot the scatter plot, you will be seeing the data points. Okay, we'll be learning the Seaborn. We'll have a library called as Seaborn where you will be plotting the X versus the A. So you'll be getting some plottings over there. And it is a kind of plotting, right? So there we have options that what we want. Okay, so we'll be plotting a lot of things in the Seaborn. We'll see how Seaborn matters there. We have a lot of things to plot, like a box plot and a C map. Okay, that's so the box plot. So we'll learn when Seaborn. We'll then discuss what are box plots and what kind of things you are getting there, right? Right. Let's see a regression plot of this. So this is a proper thing we'll be learning in the machine learning called as a regression. So data science students will be also learning this. So there you have a line just to see the best fitting line to just take off all these data points. So we can see most of the kind, these points are not just covered on, only 1 to 2, 3 points are just close to this line. So we'll make models so can we have a good line fitting line there, right? So these are kind of plotting you will be seeing in the C1. Just focus in the Matplotlib for now. Okay, moving on. So till now we have seen how to make graphs, how to just change the dotted lines and all these things. Okay, so marker, in the marker one, when you go to the marker, you have again a lot of things to understand. Okay, so I'll be giving you the types of the markers you have. And now let's just say it as, where is this, the Excel? Someone gave. So there are various type of markers for you, right? So I'm giving you some of them, right? Let's just get it started. So let's just take some of the markers there. So marker would be kind of, let's see how many markers we have. So we have marker, which will have its description, and we'll be seeing one by one. Right. So let's make it. Okay. So the first thing you might get is kind of a dot. Understood? So first thing would be a dot, that is called as your point marker. Similarly, next for the S would be said as for your square marker. So in game, where is it? Let's take, you have taken 3, so that will be stated as your try. You can try all these things. Okay, tomorrow you have holiday, so you can try on all these things just once. So these are the, let me write everything there in the center. We give these things as alright. So this is a point 1. You are having point marker, square marker, trail of marker. Similarly, there are a lot of, there's a kind of comma. Let me first write all the markers there. Similarly, you have O, you have plus, you have X, alright, X, plus. Okay, plus will not work very good here. Let me write it as, alright. This is plus, capital D, small d. Similarly, P, asterisk, H, capital H, 1, 2, and 4, V, exponent. Meanwhile, it is also seen as this. So there are these much kind of marker for you. Alright. So let's just write the names of all. This is the pixel marker. Alright. This is your circle marker, or used for in the scattering plottings. This is a plus marker, and why this 0 is there. So this is your plus marker. And this is called as X marker only. This capital D stands for your diamond marker, and this stands for your thin diamond. Similarly, P for the pentagon, the asterisk for the star marker. This is hexagon 1, and this is hexagon 2. Now 1 particularly stands for the dry down marker. Now these are things you just try in your practice session. Okay, so this is dry up marker. Similarly, this is called as V line and the H line, horizontal line and the vertical lines, right? Then you have your triangle right. Similarly, you have your triangle left marker. Okay, so see, these are automatically taken up. Similarly, you have triangle down marker, not this triangle. Okay, so this is triangle down marker. No, this is up. That is triangle. And the last one, what is 4, is your right marker. So a lot of there are kinds of to just see. Let's take it as all borders. Let's just make it thin. So total markers you can see is just a kind of all these. Okay. So these are the main normal sets. Okay. So these are your total styles of markers you are having. So I'll be using one or two, right? You can use more than 1, 2 in your home there, right? So we'll be using some of them. So there are particularly you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 cross 3, I have 20 points. All right. So moving toward your sheet. So now let's add some markers value. Right. So we'll be plotting some of the markers now. So for plotting markers, what we'll do? Let's say we have some points. Let's say we have P as 1, 2, 3, 4. Similarly, we have Q as some points. Let's say these are 2, 4, 6, and 8. So we have one so P and Q, and we'll just plot it. Now P and Q will be plotted, and let's say you're having colors. Let's say give it color K. That is black over there. And that gives marker. Now marker will be dependency on your whatever you have written here, right? So for any marker I'm taking on. So I'm taking marker D, or let's say marker S. I'm taking S marker, alright? And I'm writing now, that is marker size. You can write it or you can leave it, depends on you. So I want marker size to be 5 and the marker edge color, and I'm saying the marker edge color would be, now that depends what you write. Let's say you want red color. So when you plot this, PLG, so you'll be seeing a straight line that is for 1, it is 2, for 2 it is 4, for 3 it's 6, for 4 it's 8, and you will be seeing just a graph there with some of the marker values, marker points over there. Okay, so and also the red color as the you say it as the edge color, right? You can increase the size and you can see the values affecting there. So the marker size is now 10 and you have these values which is just given by the attack, right? So line color is black, marker type is your that is square S, and marker size is your 10, and then the marker color you are getting is your red color. Marker color you are getting is a red color. Alright, so you can make it more just like attractive, right, by liking it something or just writing it by making it simples, right? How to make simples? So see, in fact of, so my always focus to you is for making simple things in very simple lines. So instead of writing markers as kind of these all things, what I did is I just use plus or I use S. That's all. So if I run this, you can see a square plottings there, dependency of your whatever you have written, right? So that depends on what kind you need to just plot it. And if you remove, if you just give a line style to, if you just write that you want a line style and that should be a solid line, then obviously your thing would be as same as pretty as you have written there, right? If you remove these things, only if you write kind of ks comma the line style equals to solid. So this might be have printed out there. So these are the things what I'm saying. This makes things simpler, but you should also know why are these things behind, what are the things behind of that, right? Okay, similarly. So you can give your edge colors, you can define your colors, you can make a scatter plottings and all the things you can do, right? So till now what we have studied, that we have two data points, we have two data to just plot, okay, data 1 and data 2, and then we assign some of the some of the attributes like for the line color, the line width and all those things, right? So now see, if you are working on a Jupyter notebook kind of thing, always the time students have a doubt. If you are working in the Jupyter notebook, you can make plots appear in line there, okay, in line there. So for making its kind, we use the percentage matplotlib inline, okay. So for making it inline there, right? So you get a various type of questions in your data, right? So we'll be having those questions, okay. So you get a various type of questions, as I said. So you also get to print on any let's say you have a question, okay, let me give you a question and let's see whether you can plot it there or not, right? So sir, is the marker similar to x y y o? 1242 she has asked. X y y o, where it is. YO is, yes, you are giving the circle marker, yellow circle marker, right? That is very similar. That is particularly termed as a marker. Let's give you some of the questions, okay? I will see who can solve there. So just a question there, the basic one. So create an array in the range 1 to 20 with values 1.25. Okay, with values 1.25. And another array will contain the logarithmic values. This is your question, right? So you'll have to create an array in the range of 1 to 20 with values 1.25 apart, alright? And then it says that another array you want to plot down which contains the logarithmic values of the elements of the first array. Yeah. So what are the codes you will be using, guys? So you need to first simply do what? Simply plot the two arrays, first versus second, in the line chart. Okay. So this is your question. Okay. Now there are various subparts of the question also. It says that for the very first thing you have to do is simply plot the two arrays, the first versus the second. Alright, so the first versus the second in a line chart. Yes, try solving it. See, for creating arrays, okay, yes, creating array would be a problem for you. No problem is there. You just write the same statement. That is just write it as the first create some data, that is your x. Okay, first create your x. That could be an arrange and set the limits whatever has been given. I think it has been given it 1 to 20, 1.25. So set the limits as kind of x dot arrange, np dot arrange, and then 1 to 20 and 1.25. Okay. Next you take another variable and write np dot log of the particular first one. That's all. So that is your data point, and the rest is like the very simple things to plot on. So it's saying that in the x-axis, it says to label x-axis as the random values and the y-axis as the logarithmic values. The second task would be to do this. Next, you have create a third array that stores the COS value, that is the cost value. So create a third array which WCHIH which stores the cost of which first array. Alright, and then plot it. Then plot it with dotted line. Oh, sorry, not dotted, combined dash dotted lines. It's a good question. At the basic level, it's a good question. Change the marker type to what is written as a circle with blue color in the second array. And that's all. So this is your question. Easy, right? Nothing to do. The questions are big and solutions are very easy. Yes. Let's see any answers from there. Yukta Sai, NP arrange 0 to 20, 1 to 1.25. Harita is right, 1.23, 1.25. B equals to NP log of A. Alright, correct. Yes, move ahead. And you should have to plot all these. Okay. After one by one, just plot the graphs too. After each and every steps. So let it be a question there. Not 0 to, it's saying 1 to 20. Just take it from 1. Take it from there. Do you want me to solve it? Let's solve this. So, and do you know, guys, I have made something there for you. That is, I think it's there. See, there is a proper. I'll be sharing this with you. Don't worry. I think it's there inside this. So there is a lot of learning things, right? For statistics, we have some various kind of cheat sheet, you know, right? What are cheat sheets, right? Where you have formulas for everything you want. Not to study much. Let's go with the basics of that, right? You know. So these are the various kind of the Stanford University, right? So probability and statistics for engineer, what they study for 4, 5, 6 years. So we study these things in this kind of couple of days, right? Similarly, we'll be having a NumPy session. So I have 100 questions for the NumPy to practice on, right? And similarly, see in the machine learning ones, you guys, you have a lot of things to work on. for evaluating machine ML interview questions, mathematics for neural networks, and a lot of things. Okay, for data science guys, you guys also have something here. So you guys also have some lot of things to study on. There are some books PDF. You will be for like these books are paid books, right? So these books are paid. You guys have a lot of contents to study. What are things? So I'll be giving to you guys. Okay, these are not involved in your course. Still, you can just work with these things. So like we have some cheat sheets, various from various companies, right? So pandas, not here. Scikit-learn is easy. It's not to see on feature engineering. This is a very important thing when you make your data, right? So when you work with your data, the feature engineering becomes very important because you have to select what features on which you are training your model, what are the features you'll be focusing on, right? So there is one hot encoding, hash encoding, a lot of things are there to work on. And this is 76 page, so I'm not going there. So we are dealing now with the Matplotlib. So we have a Matplotlib cheat sheet also. Just let me show you. It's there. Algorithms, no. Where else is where it is? Where it is? Python, where it is? Yeah. So that should be in the data analysis. No, might be here. So here might be some of the cheat sheet of Matplotlib. Yes, you have. So similarly, we have a cheat sheet of whole Seaborn, where we just focusing on what are the various factors like scatter plot. So what scatter plot does, what are the codes for plotting any scatter plotting, bar plot, count plot, point plot. All these are there to learn, right? There are function grades and all these things. Okay, it's not very. Similarly, you have Matplotlib. We are learning today Matplotlib. So we'll see what is 1D data and all this. So this comes under the NumPy category, right? We'll see 2D data images, and these are things you can just explore out, right? What is a figure? What is plt.figure, figure XSS axis? We'll study it one by one. So we are just seeing a normal plotting, and then we'll work to on these things, right? Like what we are doing is now is the customizations of the plotting, right? For the markers, for the line styles, you can just write on these things. We'll also see all these things are there. We'll be looking it into one by one, and we can also save our plottings to our hard drive of the system we are working. You can just close any access or a lot of things to have to explore in the. I will share this with you. Okay. Similarly, these are there in the scikit-learn. These are the things where you learn the unsupervised learning, supervised learning, and all those things are there, right? So you have the formulas of the classification report, accuracy errors, linear regression, all there. Similarly, for the pandas itself is a very big thing to deal because you need to explore a very good knowledge in the pandas when you work with the data structures. Right, for the SciPy, we have read SymPy, right? So similarly, SymPy is not here. I have something there. I could not find there where it is. So similarly, for the NumPy, when we'll run the NumPy. For the Jupyter notebook, what in which we are running, if you want a shortcut of all those things, so it's there till okay. And the basics of Python, you can say. So these are the basics of Python operations. All right. So there are a lot of things to explore, right? And a lot of contents to give you like for the various interview questions you face down during the interview. I think it's there in the site. No. Okay, we'll go with these things later onwards. Yes, anyone answers? X label random values, X log graph, NP of 120. Okay, let's solve this now. So if you want to just go, guys, if you want to just have a very good practice for any company, you can just go with the lead code, right? You can have those things. Those are very good for the interview questions. Right? So we'll try to solve the simple plot with two arrays, first versus the second as a line chart. And then what you have to do, you have defined your A. Similarly, I'll be writing that np dot. Now this is my np range of 1 to 20 on the intervals of 1.25. Say have b a logarithmic value of a. That's all. Alright, so this is my first thing to do, and meanwhile, so let me just print these things. So printing the a, that is my values of a. Similarly, I'll also print b. So these are the values. Okay, let's just print one by one. So these are the values of a. That is good if I print it individually. That would be very much better. So these are the values of b, and these are the values of a. That is your a value are 1, 2.3, and all these things, and these are the logarithmic value of these things, right? Now you just plot your graph and let's see what comes there. So for plotting, it's plt dot plot the a and the b, and that's it. Your first question's answers is the graph. That is a simple line plotting. All right. Then the next question says that you need some labeling in the x-axis, y-axis. So that's easy. plt dot plot a comma b and plt dot the x label. What it says, the x-axis, random, and the log. Okay. Alright, we have random values, we have log values, and that's all. Just to print it on. Make a habit, guys. I don't have this habit, that's a problem. So make a habit to just plt.show. This is fine. Let me see, anyone has done. Okay, Anusha has a habit of it. That's good. So I always forget to write plt. Always. I just hate this writing on this particular things. Okay, the third question is create a third array which stores the cost of the first array and then plot it with the data. Alright. Let's say C. And it says to plot A and C with a line style equals to dash dotted. That is your dash dot. Alright, it says to plot like that. Or meanwhile, two plottings at a time it has said to plot that, right? So that's good. Let's plot. So now you'll be seeing two plottings at a time. It is A cross B, A comma B and the B comma A comma C. Let's write it. So that is what you will see. Okay. What the next? Change the marker type to circle and the blue color. Alright. This is the question and this is the answer. That's all. So okay, we got an error. So this is your plotting exactly. This is very bad color. So let's go with a good one. Let the marker be orange, and this is looking good, right? So this was the question. So you do, I think you understood, right, everyone? log graph title. Anush has given title also. Okay. Now we'll try to understand what is a bar chart. So from the you can say we are reading bar charts from when class 7 onwards, I think, the right from the 7 onwards, I think. So a bar chart. So we define the bar chart as a graphical display of data using some bars of different heights. So this is nothing but the graphical representation of your data using some bars of it can be same for a time, right? So bar chart is a graphical display of data using bars of different heights, that's all, right? So let's just take values, some of the values. Let's say A, B, C as some of the values. Let's take it 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it be 2, 4, 6, and 8. Alright, so these are my values of A, B, and C respectively. And just plot it. So for a bar plot, you will be just writing plt.bar of anything A and B. And I'll be seeing a value, that is this, a plot of A and B. Similarly, plot of A and C. So that will, sorry, not plot. Similarly, a plot of A and C. So these are the things, right? So you can again just give the labelings of these things, like, okay, so let's give the label here itself. So the x-axis will be labeled as is A versus B, right? So these are some values. Let it be values. These are the doubles, right? Similarly, let's just copy these, paste it here, and these are the values and these are the squares. That's all. So run this with the values and the doubles, and with the values and the squares with all those, right? So that's all. Now let's just take a graph. Let's just try to print it. So for that I will need some datas. Let's come up with some of the data now. No data recovered, all right. Oh, that's the graph. You can see the graph particularly. So we will learn that how to plot these graphs on every count, how we see that counts. Okay, so just take it here. All right. So this is a plotting used with the Python. Right? You can see there, right? This is the particular plotting which you can see with the Python. We have one particular session on these kind of plotting, right? Bubble plotting particularly, there you can see everything what you want to plot. All right, let's just move on and let's see there what comes. How many cases? Let's. All right, Maharashtra with 347. Okay, let me write one by one. Worldwide is a very good one score. That's a good score there. Let me click a snap of it. Done. Now this, let's make it. Let's take, we have cities, we have states. So the state names, what are those? Maharashtra. Tamil Nadu. Delhi, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh. What more? Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, Gujarat. Alright, so these are some of the cities what I have taken there, and now the confirmed cases. Very good. So the confirmed cases, guys. Okay, let me write it one by one. This is a lot of there are there. So the confirmed cases goes on 347502, 347502, 19974199749, 127364, 80863, 72711, 58104, 53973, 53631. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Correct. Similarly, let's take the cases per 1 million people. So cases per 1 million. So these are the cases as where from? Yes, from 3043, 2943, 6709, 1262, 1472. All right, 284. Good. 598, 855. Done. Now the recovered patients are okay. 194253. Good. 143,297, 109,065, 29310, 37555, 35803, 33529, 38837. The last is that's 12854, 3320. Sorry, 3745, 1616, 884, 1289, 1290, 2283. That's all. So this is our data. Huge data there. Alright. Okay. So it's a huge data of all these I have taken, right? This all. Now we'll try to see if we can just plot it the values as same. So let's just check length of everything is correct or not. So yes, everything is 8. Let's see some plottings of the various type, right? So yes, let's plot plt dot a bar plot, and we'll see a bar plot of the states versus the cases. That is the confirmed cases. That is kind of. Let's make it a big one. So we are writing figure. What is the figure is? We just want to increase the size of the figure. Let's say it's 10 by 10. So that is good. Not 10 by 10 is not good. This is nice. Still some missing there. 20 is also not good. That is fine. Alright. So I can see the cases accordingly. Maharashtra leading on the top, followed by Tamil, Delhi, Karnataka, Andhra, Uttar, West, and Gujarat. Alright. Good to see that. Right. So now if you want to just highlight any particular portion, let's say you have plotted the, not with the confirm, let's see with the deaths. So with the deaths, the graph is something different. That is, number of deaths is also a good range there, I can see, as compared to the, okay. Similarly, when you import Seaborn, and I will see there when we just work with the data there, that is your there we used to just like do as a count plot and all very simple things there, right? So there could not pass x and y. Why it's written as TAT, yes. Okay, fine. So there just you can see that the scatter plots has been given as the range of some values, and only some one particular values is there. So it's not like a data frame object. So if it would have been a data frame object, then we could see a very good kind of data, right? Like let's say you have your data, and there you have these things as kind of, let's take it as kind of states and everything. Just take it out there and copy. So this states, these are the confirmed cases. So I think you are good at dictionary of the Python. If no, then no need to worry. You can just follow up. So that's it. Invalid syntax. Okay. That is our dictionary basically. Okay. So if you see your data, that is your particularly these things, right? So let's see if I can make you see the exact structures of the thing. I'll let you know what I'm doing there. Okay, so these are the individual things I'll be focusing on. So I can see the data, right? See guys, we have state for confirmed cases per 1 million recovered and the deaths. Alright. So yep, now let's just plot in there. Okay. So with these kind of some data and we come up with here, right? Let's just plot it. We'll see what comes there. So dictionary is very important to just have a good, let's say, scatter plot. Let me show you just the things. And that's good. So that's just good to see. Mm, 20,010 would not be a good one. Okay, so you guys can see just the scatter plottings based on all these states. So it says that the most probably Maharashtra is having just confirmed cases of the death. So confirmed cases is something in the Maharashtra, it's around of 35,000 or something like that, 3 lakh around 35,000. It's around 3 lakh there, and the deaths has been up to the 12,000 above. So what's the exact number? Maharashtra, and the deaths is around 12854. That's exactly. So you can just see a various kind of plottings there. That you can just see. We'll see these in C-bonds how these things look on to. Just we can see the various factors, right? So the death versus the strip plot of all these actual variations, like the deaths and the confirmations of the plots, right? So this plays a very important just role on kindly just making. So C-bonds will be using just to make a better visualization apart from the Matplotlib. Okay, so that is yeah, I can see a lot of giving the answers. Very good ways. Okay, so C-bond will give you a very good just if you just see you want to just go for a count plot. Sorry. From the data itself, if I just want to plot the number of deaths, so it will say me that these are my death status. Let's say these are my states and these are my death status, right? So that depends. So if I can see the confirmed cases, yeah. So what are these what are these hue and theta, and I'll be discussing about those things. Okay. Similarly, you can just see the scatter plottings or the line plot. See, line plot can done with the x and y parameters, not with these things. So the best thing you can just see of your data is the pair plot of the data. That's all. The best thing you can see with the variations, every variations, the histograms, the scatter plottings, and everything would be shown here. That is, and this could be also shown on the basis of their states. If I just write it as a lot of warnings. because data is not enough sufficient to plot it on these things, but still we will get our plotting. So this is a very rough data, right? A very just a small amount of data to get it plotted out. Okay, so that is we'll be getting on. So this is the data what we got. This is the plotting on the basis of the states. This is the plotting, and if you want this plotting to be saved in your you can say hard disk, so you will be writing as plt dot savefig, and then you can just write on the name, let's say raw data, and dot your format, let's say PDF. You run this, and this plotting will be saved inside your hard drive, and then you can just load on, and you can just check on to see how you are just getting your plottings, right? So I think this has been done. Yeah, so this has been done, right? So you can also see you have a raw data. You can just download it there, and once it gets downloaded, just open it. So while we open it, all right. So we can see, right, the states, the cases per month. All right. So these are the confirmed versus the cases per 1 million recovered deaths, and all these data has been given, right? So you can even zoom up. It will not get this right diminished. So there you have your data accordingly to the cases, various graphs. Okay. Now let's focus on the Matplotlib. C1 will do later on. Okay. So now see, guys, we just plotted up the data of this one. Let's come up with these things. So we plotted up this data, right? Now see, if you want to just make the width, length, or you can say just if you want to change the width size, the color of width size, we can do just in one number of terms, right? Let's say that we have been plotting out here, and just here what I'll write is the widths of everyone. Let's say 0.5 is maintained. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you can see, if you can see that, it has not been affected much. Let it be. So you can see the width of Uttar Pradesh, right? Having some much over there. So you can see the difference, right? So by default, it was a kind of there. Then you just made it there, and you can even decrease. You can even decrease the size. Like you see, Maharashtra has been decreased, right? So that is your width status of what you write. That depends on how you write there, the values, and it should be another 0.5 to 1. That's all. It's good to have. If you write any 1, that would be a kind of, you can see, then it will become kind of a histogram, right? So this is the width of how you can just plot your widths. Similarly, you can just change the colors also individually, or just you want everyone to be the same color. So if you want every plottings to be the same color, you will be just writing it as your color is equals to red, let's say. So your whole graph will be coming inside the red graph, right? Now, if you want some of the to be changing the colors, if you want some of them to be in the change of the colors, then you will be just applying it one by one and sequence of, right? Similarly as you did there. So you will be just applying a list of colors. Let's say red, blue, green, yellow, black, and what are the rest? White. No, white is not good. Let's take again red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's take what has been left. Any color. Red, yellow, green, blue. Okay, let's take green again. So when you plot this, you will be seeing different colors there. That is your graph will have different colors there. Okay, so you can plot it there by using some different colors also. Okay, so these are the kinds you can just work to have. Okay, so there are also questions coming. And now if you want to just plot a horizontal bar plot, so now I'm not giving all these colors. Let's just copy these. Okay. Similarly, if you want So I want now this, just say that I want a horizontal plotting. So I'll be using just an H here, and that will be an horizontal plotting. So got some maximum width also. Alright, so maximum width are there, remove the width size and see the bar plot. So you can see it's kind of a horizontal bar plot, you can write it on. Okay, so these are the horizontal bar plottings. This is how you make the horizontal bar plot. Similarly, we have the pie chart, or you can say the pie plot, to just plot on the values. Okay, so what's the time there? So we can see pie plot. So pie plot is what? The pie chart, you can say, is a kind of a graph which is divided in is kind of a circle which is divided into some of the regions or sectors or domains, you can say, right? So that is divided in some of the sectors which represent the proportion of the whole wide. That's a whole, right? Any problems, Deves? Yes. Vami Krishna is giving, yeah. All right. So in the pie plot, what you have to do, you have to define that is PIE. That's all. Okay. So let's say we have deaths, right? We have death status. So let's just plot this. Let's just only plot the states. So yes, so these are the death status of the people or the cases. All right. So these are the deaths of the, just a pie plot, you can say, right? Now let's see. Now if you want to label these things, all right. So what will be your labels? So my labels of the deaths will be, if I need to now just give a label for that. So I'll be writing plt dot the labels, and my labels, I just need to plot the deaths first. DST, and my labels would be equal. Now labels, what could be my labels? So I need to define my labels, like what should be coming there in place of red, green and all these things, like for the naming, right? So let's take the labels as my states. So all right, so you can see the invalid syntax. And yes, correct. So now you can see the proportions there, that is quite big now. Okay, you can see the proportions. Let's make it 8, 8. That would be quite okay. Yes. So this is Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu and so on. We have having the proportions and the labels also, right? Now, if you want to give the percentage to these labels, what percent value they are storing. So for percentage, adding just a kind of percentage to a pie plot, you use a method called as auto-PCT. Okay, so that's an argument particularly which is kind of a format. Okay, which is a kind of a format of a string what you define. So let's say that you are using auto-PCT. Okay, and you have formulas, various formulas, kind of we can use percentage 5D and all those things. So I'll be giving you a cheat sheet, right? So in there you will be getting everything to just plot on it. Okay, so you'll have values of how you can just plot it. So let's say I'm taking an auto PCT of percentage 3D percentage. Let's say I'm just plotting with the 3D percentage. It's basically giving you the values of the digits. All right, that's all. So that you will understand when I plot it, you will be understanding it. What is the problem? Okay, that is a kind of a string puzzling. So that needs to be inside it. EOL while literal, that's okay. So you can see the percentages, right? So that is the percentage value of these things now. So these are the percentage. And now it varies, as I said, it varies. So let's say you write 1.1 f percent. In place of 3D, you write 1.1 f. Now this will be giving you the percent as your one digit first, and then the 1f, that is your one float value. Okay, so this is how it varies on. Now you write it's 1.2f, so it will be 1.2f. You can see now the two float. Okay, so having a just a 2D or 3D value is good. Having a 3D to me is a good one to understand these things, right? Okay, so this is a slice one having some 47%, that is Maharashtra you are having. Now if you want to change the color or the precision type, so you can change tabs too, right? So that is, if you want to change your precision color, if you want to change the color of the let's say for the how many values, 1 2 3 4, let's take a color and let's name it as red. Let it be yellow, green, silver is left, silver, orange, green, right. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 has been done. Let's take white. Alright, let's just plot this pie. And we'll give the colors as COL. Okay, thing might have taken place, but P. So you can see the colors here. So instead of red, let me give some light color to that. And also I'll be saving this figure and we'll write it as raw data py.pdf. You can save it as JPG, PNG, whatever you want. I save it as a kind of a PDF or as a better visualization. So this is your graph now. Okay, this is your Maharashtra and all these percentages you are having on. And also you can see this has been generated here in your raw data py. If you open it, it would be kind of this. Okay, now this you can print, you can share, you can do whatever you want, right? And you can zoom on, it will not be just like that. Pixels would be a clear one, right? That's why I take it on your PDF format. With this you can label, you want a label there, you can put on the labels and everything you can do there, right? Can you just repeat the explanation for plt.figure? Alright, sure. So in the figure what we did is we just here for the figure size you are saying for, right? So figure is just whatever the plotting you are doing, right? Yes. So the figure is whatever the plotting you are doing, and there you are writing fixed size. So fixed size will say you that the figure what you have drawn is of what size you want, right? Similarly, right? Understood. So figures are nothing but what you are plotting there. That is your line plot, bar plot, any let it be any kind of plotting. That has nothing but your figures. And you just want to make it big, so you are using figure size and all these. So we have a good kind of thing for the figure one also. All right, don't worry. I will have a session on for particularly figure. Let's say I'm just giving you some examples for the figure. You will get to understand it. So this is particularly called as a figure class there. So in this class, see what happens. The function particularly you have there fig. You write it as fig is equals to like plt dot figure. Okay, write it like this. Okay, this is your fig there. Now you have some of the parameters there. So what are the parameters you are having inside your fig? Is your, let me write this. So the parameters in figure, what are those things? Yes, that's nice. So first of all, you have a fixed size. What we have till now. So the fixed size will give the width and the height, and this is the kind of tuple in inches. So write the inches value there. Similarly, you have the next as your dpi, which is dots per inch. So especially for formatting you use, right? Similarly, you have face color, which you will be using for these all are written in the cheat codes, right? Similarly, you have edge color, this for your figure match. Edge color also we have done in the marker, right? And this is line width. I have written some of the things there. So line width, what is your edge line width, right? So these are the things you have. Just let it be writing this here as a keynote. So these are the kind of things you have there, right? So you use these things to plot one by one graphs over there, right? So let's say you have parameter of figure axis also. Okay, so these are the class basically of. Then you have a lot of things like kind of figure axis, multi-plots and all those things, right? So you do those things there. This is a kind of plotting and all those, right? I'm not getting much into that. So the basics is these things, right? So let me show you axis also, otherwise you'll be confused. Right? Pooja, is this clear to you, or any more specifications you want? I'll say okay. It's saying okay, fine. So yes, in the axis when you plot, you have legend and all those things. We'll see the grid plotting, then we'll see. So we'll plot legend. So legend is having some of the locations kind like legend is nothing but the hue semantic in the C1 what we have done. It's kind legend is kind of a thing that is you might have heard about the legend also. I think like these are the legend, nothing but the these. So in Matplotlib, in C1, these are called as hue semantic, and in the Matplotlib, it is called as the legend. So legend will have positions, like for the best position is location code, which have location and location codes too. So the 0 stands for the best position. It automatically detects where legend will be look perfectly, right? It have upper right, upper left, upper lower right, lower left, and all these. So axis plotting is having some codes. So marker codes are there. Some line styles are there. I have did all these things, right? So just you can do a lot of things to just have a plotting on that. Let's say that. Let me show you what are those things. What I'm dealing with. Let's just take that you have y is equals to your. Let's just take some numbers. Let's say 1, 4, 9, b squares, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64. The 8 values. Let's just say x. You have some x1, or that is probably equals to 1, 16, 30. Let's say 42, 55, 68, 77, let's say it's 88. Alright, right. Similarly, you have x2 also. Let's take x2, it's 1, 6, 12, 18, 28, 40, 52, let's say 65. So these are some of the values of my x, y, and let's say x1, x2. Okay, so these are the values. Now I just want to plot a figure. That's it. Okay, see, I just want to plot a figure. Now I'll be adding that these are my x's. Ax is equals to x's. So I'm writing fig dot add the x's. So what will be my x's? That is 0. Let's take it 0, 1, and 1. Alright, these are my x's now. My 4 points are having these things. So let's plot. You will get to understand what I'm doing. So L1 is equals to my x's dot plot, and I will be writing it as x1 comma the y, and also I'll be writing it as ys. It is y squares. So yellow square colors and the dash lines. Okay, one here. That is solid line with yellow color and the square marker. Alright. In the one only I'm taking everything. And you have studied that what are the things. So not making it mention more. So let's take x2 with the y, but here the green. The you can say so the green dots. Green dots and the dash again. Let it be dash dash. Okay. So these are the facts, right? Now let's just print on the legends and the x's, everything you can just write on. Okay, just you can write like, let's say you have ax dot legend, and legend is something, see guys, again I'm saying legend is again for the labels, you get it there, right? Like in the graphs to understand it better. So the labels labels would be, so once you are using legend, you will have to write the labels. Okay, so just let's write it as a kind of labels equals to resolution. Okay. Or let's write it's PV. So labels equals to TV, and let's say Android or Android. Alright. So television, and I can also specify my locations. I can specify my locations. So location is my lower right. Okay. So these are my locations of my legend, where my legend would be. Similarly, I can just set my labels, my X label particularly. So I'll be setting my, first of all, I'll be setting my title, that is ax.title, and I'll be writing as advertisement. So advertisement effect on sales, and similarly just set the X label so your X label will be medium, and similarly set the Y label that could be the sales, and it's plt.show. You can see a graph there, advertisement on the sales of the TV versus the Android, and like that, right? So you can just have a graph on these. So these are the X's I have used and all these things. So once I have declared that I want to plot a figure, so my X's would be 0011, that is 0011 4 points, and then my line 1, that is L1. So this is X's dot plot X versus Y on all these bases. Okay. Similarly for the legend I have done so. Alright. So these are the kind of things we just plotted there. Similarly, we'll be seeing the access classes and the so this, what 0011 particularly stands for, the length of the sequence, kind of left, bottom, width, and the height particulars. Okay. So this 00 stands for the left and bottom, and width and height for the 1 and 1. Okay. So it's particularly you are saying that you want a rectangle of 4 lengths, that is your these lengths. Okay, this is an axis. All right. So these are the things. Legend, you have understand the legend method of axis just gives a legend to the plot, that is your legend, and you have defined it as in the lower right, so it is in the lower right. Okay. So there are a lot of options to write. Axis dot plot, what you have written, that is axis dot plot in the here, this one axis dot plot ax. So this have some particular methods to just plot on. This is the very basic method to of the axis class to plot the values. Okay. So the plot method can have an optional string values like you have written as ys and go. Similarly, these are nothing but the marker codes and the line styles you have been used. So these are the things to just plot any, just a very simple thing. Okay. So the next, what is the time now? Okay, let's see the subplots also, to how to make a subplottings. So subplot is a very good function which returns the axis object in a grid position, or you can say the number of rows and number of columns or index you want to specify in a particular plotting. So you write it that like that, right? So you write according to what kind of plot you want. So let's say that you want a plotting plot a line, implicitly creating a subplot. Okay, let's say plt dot plot one, two, three. We'll plotting 3 ones. Now this is a, just you have written the plot of 1, 2, 3. Now create a subplot which represents the top plot of the grid with 2 rows and 1 columns. Okay, 2 rows and 1 columns. So since this plot will overlap the first one, so the plot axis has been given for the previously, right? So what we'll write it as, that plt dot subplot the range of So let's cross in the range of A12 and let's make it as 2. So we read what is the face color. We're giving it as yellow and let it be there. Face PFT plot and range of 12. So you can see it's a kind of a range of this 12 numbers has been plotted out, right? So it's 211 and 2113 are just nothing but the plotting numbers I have written out, right? That is 2 rows and one particular. For example, like we have just 233. So for if I write 233, that is nothing but the 2 rows and 3 columns and the third index value. Okay, so that is 2 rows, 3 columns, and the third index value. And here what I'm doing is I just want to plot 2 rows with one particular column, and this is the first plotting. Similarly, 2 rows with the 1 columns and the second plotting. Understood? Try to understand, guys. This is 211 stands for your 2 rows, the 1 column. If you write it as 221, 221, and this would come like that, right? So 2 row there means that you, it's not exactly the 2 rows, it's one there. So this is one particular row, 2 columns, and this is for the first plot. This is 1 to 1. This is 1 row, 2 column, and first plotting or the first index number. Similarly, the 1 row, second 2 plotting, and the second one. Okay, understood what I mean to say basically. These are the things. So just 2, 2, 2, 1. So you'll not get a 2 rows. So you'll just get a box of that. Okay, understood. So these are the things, right? And now you can just mention on like for the subplot, you can just mention on it like now the if I use, so this was the function of a subplot, right? Let me write a heading there. So this was a subplot there, right? Similarly, you have subplot add also. If you write add of the subplot, so this function will add or the figure class with not overwriting but just the existing plot, right? So this plot would be, you can say, embedded or encrypted in this one, right? So that will be kind of just paste the code. Only a slight change will be there, that is again I have to define, that is figure is equals to, and then you have ax1, which will be equals to all of the subplot, and then you can define the values. Okay. So try to understand the codes what have been written there. And this is fine. This, let it be 2 to 1 1 2. AX1 subplots is a fair right. Hold on 1 second. Figure that subplot of 111. That's nice. One row, one column, and one particular output. Okay. And then I plotted there. The second one is the figure that 221. It's 2 row, 2 column, and so on. Okay. And then again, the plotting has been done. So where the error is out. Figure has no attribute of subplot. Is the S capital? Figure has fifth line. Okay, that was an error. You can see a graph there inscribed there particularly. So this was exactly my one row, one column, and one graph. That is my first big graph, right? And then I plotted the second line. This the add is this in particular this one. That is your second row, second column in the one particular graph. So this was the graph there, overlapped here. Right? These are the things which you write. You can do with any of the things, right? Similarly, okay. So we'll discuss on the Matplotlib from the Monday, and from the Monday your timing will be just separated. That is what like for the previous one. Okay. Let me stop.